Hey, and welcome back to the next episode of the Right Hand Drive Guys podcast, the podcast for guys who like right-hand drives. I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
Yo.
And here we are. We're back in the studio, a.k.a. the garage, the place where we keep our cars.
That's right.
And, we're ready. We're ready to get another guest on, and we've been trying to diversify a little bit. It's hard. When you love Skyline so much, it's really hard to diversify. But we found a Supra guy. We found Anthony from the Supra Registry.
Supra Registry, huh?
Yeah, and I don't even want to spoil it all. Let's get to it. Episode 135 with Anthony from the Supra Registry.
Hell yeah.
All right, and we're back with Anthony from the Supra Registry. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming on. We definitely appreciate it. We are lacking on the Supra knowledge, so we're happy to have a guy that can represent, a solid group of dudes and hopefully enlighten us a little bit, so we're just not so dumb to the Supras.
We can probably answer some questions for sure, especially on production information.
And okay, so before we get into the real good stuff, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you drive, just the goods? Okay.
In short, I'm kind of from all over. I've been traveling for the last 15, 16 years. I did some defense contract work. Now I'm in semiconductors. I'm currently up in the Boston area. I was in Charleston, South Carolina, so I'm a little bit everywhere.
Nice.
With that being said, currently, I went through a ton of Supras. I just got into the GTR platform, and now I'm still focused on Supras, but they're on like not a back burner, but I've taken a break from them for a second to introduce myself to the GTR platform.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool. And so where were you originally from, though? Like, where'd you grow up?
I grew up in upstate New York, actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm all over the place. Yep.
We're from Maine, so right now you're not too far from us.
Oh, nice. Good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay, cool. So let's get started a little bit. So what got you into Supras? Like, where do they come into your life?
Okay. The first time I ever saw one, I was on I-26 from Columbia to Charleston. I was going about 110, 115 miles an hour in an Audi, and I got passed by this black blur going at least like 160 plus, 170 plus. And as it took the exit, I noticed it was a black Mark IV Supra, and that was day one of the bug. So That's when I got.
I feel like a lot of people have a similar story about Supras doing flybys on the interstate.
It passed me like I was standing still. I mean, I was just, cruising. It's a long straight highway, but I didn't expect that. So
you get passed by one, right? And then after that, where do you get into them? You know what I'm saying? Where does it become a thing for you?
Trying to think. My first one I bought, I was over in Afghanistan doing work, and I bought it sight unseen in California. It was a twin turbo auto, salvage title, nothing crazy. I was just happy to be able to afford one. And at the time it was like $9,000 for the car plus $1,000 shipping. Awesome.
Dang.
It was the early 2000s. Times were a little different. And again, I was just happy to have one. And when I got it, it was definitely not as described. It had pop riveted and welded fenders onto it. It was the trans cooler lines were plumbed into themselves. It had no terminals for the batteries to even like hook a battery up to it. There was no terminals.
Wow.
And it had a Honda radio in it, out of all things.
Dang, that sounds like early 2000s, sight unseen car sale for sure.
Yeah, I got a little bit, so young and dumb.
And so did it get better from there? Like,
Yeah, 36 Supras later,
What?
I've had some nice ones in between. So
You had to
I've
start
had
a
worse
registry
ones
just for
too.
yourself, man. That's insane.
Yeah, I definitely went through a good amount of Supras, and me and a buddy of mine, Curtis, if you're watching, he and I flipped a lot of Supras back in the mid to late 2000s. And then it was actually kind of fun back then because it was a scavenger hunt to find them, and the internet didn't abuse every good deal that you came on, and you could actually make a couple $1,000s on a car. So it was nice.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, everything like that back then, right? It was a little more fun because it just wasn't so overexposed.
It was just crazy situations. We had one where a guy was at a bar and he was like, "I want this car gone tonight. Bring me like 10 grand. You can have it." And we're going to the ATMs and hitting all the withdrawal limits and calling the banks and finally get 10 grand together and zooming over to go get the car. And you end up buying it from some guy at a bar at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was just random.
That's crazy. And
Those days are gone.
Yeah, I mean, $10,000 for a Supra. Like, say that's someone nowadays. They're like, "Where are they at? I'm gonna take them."
or they're like, "You're
now,
scamming."
Yeah.
Bare chassis is 10 grand nowadays, which is crazy.
That is crazy. So was there one out of these 30, however many, was there one that just stands out to you that you're like, "Oh, I should have kept that one"?
Yeah, all of them. There's definitely a couple. I had a beautiful anthracite Supra. It was a twin turbo auto, but it was a very clean car, and it had a cool story. It was in Japan almost its whole life. Well, let me back up. It hit the California port and then it was immediately exported. Spent all of its life in Japan. Then it ended up going to Canada in 2015. And then I bought it from Canada. And it is a US spec car too. It's US VINs, US spec.
Crazy.
Yeah, and I ended up buying it from a gentleman in Toronto. I drove it across the border as the first legal US owner and imported it myself. And that was definitely a special car. And today it's worth triple what I paid for it. I think I paid 30 for the car in 17, sorry. And then I put like 15,000 into it. And then I think it sold for like mid 60s.
That's wild.
Again, those days are far and few between. But then the second best one was a black twin turbo 6-speed 95 that my buddy first bought, and I drove the piss out of it. And then he sold it, and then I bought it back. And then the day I bought it, the motor blows. So it was a full rebuild. And then I ended up sending it over to CNC Motorsports in Kentucky. So that's Chris D'Annunzio. Awesome guy. He took it under his wing and turned it into a like 1,600 horsepower capable car. And that was my money pit Supra. So that one, but that got turned into a condo. And so
wow.
Times change. Yeah.
Dang, he turned a Supra into a condo.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Had to get some money for a down payment somehow, right?
Yeah.
That car was special. I transitioned into the Mark V thinking that was going to be the replacement, and I'd go that route and also have the condo and still have a toy. But that disappointed me. So
yeah,
here we are.
That seems to be the general consensus with guys that have experienced better platforms.
It's a cool car, but I just don't like all the BMW aspects of it. And maybe that makes me biased or a purist or whatever, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally not into it, but I get it, right? They were trying. They took a right when they should have taken a left, I think.
They made a cool car for sure.
Yeah.
But it is 90% BMW, 10% design of Toyota, and that's what you got.
They should have kept that Supra name for something else, I feel like. Or,
there was so much they could have done. And I think what pissed everyone off is they teased us with the FT1 concept for so long. They even brought one to Supras in Vegas. And on the platforms where they were displaying it, it would be like hashtag FT1, hashtag Supra. So we were all anticipating this awesome FT1. And to get suckered into the Mark V, not that it's a bad car, but I think a lot of guys would have stretched $1 to afford a more expensive FT1 than to be kind of let down by the Mark V. I think that was the main culprit of demise for that car's respect.
Damn, crazy. That's a good outlook.
You think it would have done better if it had a 2JZ in it?
That motor it's tried and true. The B58 is also a great motor. It's just, again, it's like, leave that to BMW. Like Toyota, as Toyota, I think could have pulled some, tricks out of their sleeve to redesign something, keep it in line 6 twin turbo platform. There's so many awesome engines out there that they even use that maybe they could have done something with, but that one's above my pay grade. So,
So before we get into anything about the registry, okay, here's a question that we as the right-hand drive guys have like always wanted to know, and we're hoping that you can shed some light on why right-hand drive Supras are like the red-headed stepchild. Like, they're just not as cool. They don't get as much money, So what is it within the Supra community that values a left-hand drive car?
there's a really good answer for that, and I hope it solves this debate for eternity.
Sweet.
One of them is production numbers. That's the easiest one to tell people, because obviously if you have less of something, it's a little bit more rare. Therefore, the values might be different. So there's 45,230 Mark IVs ever made, period, worldwide.
Damn. It's not high
Of that
numbers,
40,
really.
yeah, it's really not. So it's less than the new the R35. So that puts in perspective. If you look at the Mark IV Supra's U.S. production numbers, it's like 11,472. That's that number for the United States. Or sorry, for the United States. So everything outside of that is pretty much right-hand drive, except for like their UK specs, which are Euro cars, Euro destination cars that had left-hand drive. And there's like, off the top of my head, I think there's like 1,500 of those. So less than 14,000 left-hand drives, period. So a third of the cars are left-hand drive, 2/3 right-hand drive. So right off the rip, you have only a third being left-hand drive, so therefore rarity. The second reason, which is I think more my reason of trying to get people to understand it, is the JDM cars only have 2 VIN locations. They have the VIN plaque that's pop riveted on the right-hand apron, and they have the JZA80 or the JT1, if it's a Euro spec, on the firewall, etched into the firewall at the rear of the engine, right? And that's the only 2 VIN locations on a JDM car. USDM has 12. They're on almost every panel. So there's pop riveted in the glass with like the windshield one with like the special star pop rivets. You have the frame, you have the bumper crash bars, the fenders, the hood, the doors, like the hatch, everything like has a VIN sticker for the most part. And the US dealers offered VIN etching in the glass on a lot of the cars. So yeah, America, they steal things, especially back in the 90s. So they protected the cars with a lot of VIN stickers. It's a requirement for DOT and blah, 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 blah. So right away, you have a car with only 2 VIN locations. You don't know if a panel was replaced or not. And then you have US cars with all the VIN locations. And you can tell easily if a VIN was tampered with or replaced. And even if guys remanufacture them, which they do, there's ways to tell. The films are slightly different. The prints are slightly different. A talented person will know if it's been like tampered with or the location slightly off. It's kind of obvious if you've been around the car enough. So right off the rip, if car's been wrecked without Carfax, without, people telling you. You can just look on a U.S. car. So that's my number one reason why they will forever be worth a little bit more. Has nothing to do with anything else. Just the fact that what's been done to the car.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, if you can verify the authenticity of all the panels quickly, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
just
way
walk
less
around
of a
the car.
headache.
In 5 minutes, I'll know what was tampered with. I don't need Carfax. I mean, granted, a good body guy will know as well, but for the average person, they can just look at the panels. And like the registry has where the locations are, things like that on the site. Like there's so many tools out there now where you could do a quick Google search, YouTube video, and figure that out. The other thing would be Carfax. They have like a car VIN check system. You can get their registration, like when they do different things with mileage or inspection or accidents, but it's not the same as the United States. Like our Carfax itself is such an awesome tool. Sometimes as in like, discrepancies or someone did a clerical error at a DMV, but for the most part, it tells you like, hey, this car was wrecked. This is when it happened. The car was stolen. It was recovered. It's not recovered. It's still actively stolen. They don't have that.
Yeah, I can see that. It's called Car VX over in Japan, and
Yeah.
it's very
Yep.
more basic for sure.
Yeah.
It'll
Unless
give you
there's an
cool stuff
auction
for, like,
sheet.
yeah, it has like auction pictures, but even the auction sheet, like that's subject to the person writing it down.
Yeah.
We're
Very
talking about
true.
a police report on an accident that happened at a time and date. So I don't know. But then I will say this, the contrary to that though, is like the Supras don't report accidents a lot. They
True.
are the first one to fix the car and not report it so they don't devalue the car. So there's a lot of fraud and a lot of not like purposefully fraudulent activity with it, but there's a lot of things that people just try to hide and fix their car so they don't get it devalued. And that is another part of the registry's ability to kind of weed that out. Like, no, we know your car was wrecked. Here's the record of it. But they did do a good job fixing it.
So the registry, right? Can you kind of give us like a broad overview of what it is, and then like furthermore how it started?
Yeah, I'll even start there. It started on a couch, going through eBay listings, writing down VIN numbers and what I saw, twin turbo, 6-speed, whatever, black. And the reason was I got in a dispute with some people on Supra forums, couple admins, couple other people. I just wanted to know how rare my car was. And they had charts from mark4.net and some others that had color charts, that had production charts, but all the numbers didn't match. So my argument was, well, none of you are correct if the numbers can't match, and everybody's giving different numbers, so therefore none of you know for sure. But some of the more OG members would have so-and-so in Japan told them it was this many, or so-and-so that works at a dealership said it's this many. So those feuds got to the point where I kind of dug my heels into the ground and called them out on it, which at that time was just young me being, abrasive. And I wanted to know, like, how rare is my car? Like, it can't be that hard to figure out. Well, it is. So it took 10 plus years now to get a complete Mark IV registry. And I, after time, figured out patterns, realized how the VIN numbers were broken down, figured out what was a check digit, and learned all these different things just about VIN. And then once you start making the database, you start seeing patterns, and then you can start figuring out, okay, well, this VIN starts like this. Starting VIN is for this year, 93. This one has like this letter, so it's a 94, and so on. And then next thing you know, I'm plugging in all these VINs into Toyota's website. At the time, you were allowed to just throw a VIN in and get all the OEM stats.
Dang.
So I was able to VIN, okay, now I'm getting verified data from Toyota that this is what they have on record for that VIN. And once you do that 11,000 times, you start realizing, like, okay, you learn a couple of things. And I employed some kids that I went to college with, and we were having a race. It was like every 1,000 VINs that we could figure out, I would give them like $100.
Dang.
So but we did it on like multiple websites because you have to compare everything, make sure there's no discrepancies. And after the Mark IV Supras is when I realized we could use scrapers and things like that, which makes it easier to pull all the data from these sites, which is above my pay grade. Again, that's software guys and web guys are really good with that. But yeah, so then we had someone up in Canada. He helped me figure out an algorithm to get the VIN numbers to figure out all the check digits, which is like a middle digit in the VIN. It's usually 0 through 9 or an X. And that will allow you to figure out the VIN's legit or not. But you have to plug that one VIN in 10 times to see if it's 0 through 9 or X to make sure you have a valid VIN. So now you're plugging them into Carfax, or whatever. We're using all kinds of websites at the time, Auto Trader or not Auto Trader. There's another one, but we were using like all of them. And long story short, it was like programs that would run the VINs 10 times to figure out which ones are valid. And then I got with another guy that helped because the first guy got sick of doing it. And then that transition, it just kept snowballing. And before you know it, you're just so deep into the project that you can't stop. Like there has to be an ending. And eventually 45,230 cars later, we figured it out. So all of them worldwide, period. End of story. We have them.
Holy cow.
I didn't realize it was complete.
Yeah, the Mark IVs is complete. The only thing is I asked people to verify their cars, and I think that the stigma on that is they think I'm going to do something nefarious with their VIN, but I already have their VIN. The only thing that we're doing is we're verifying that your like plaque on your car and your frame stamp matches the OEM information that we pulled from Toyota. That's all we're doing. Like I already know your color, you're all this, that, and the other. The only thing that could be wrong is if someone manually entered something and or copy and pasted and maybe screwed up a color or an interior code or something. But 99.8% of that site is accurate.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
And so for somebody who doesn't maybe understand like what you're doing, like what is the registry?
We've made it to where you can look up any Supra using the last 6 digits of the VIN to pull up its profile as if it's like a little Facebook profile. And you can see all of its OEM stats. The Mark IV is the only one I have 100% complete, though. The Mark III is 160,000 plus cars. Mark V is... It's like way too many. So people are like, oh, when's it going to be done? It's like probably, I don't know. When computers are better and I can get the data easier. But yeah, so you can go to the site, just there's a search right on the top of the site. There's search boxes everywhere, but on any of them, you can just type in the last 5 digits of the number, 6 digits of the number. So like 001234, and it will pull up chassis 001234, and it will show you its profile, pictures if there are any, all the OEM stats, and if it's a U.S. car, we ran all the Carfaxes on all 11,000 cars.
Man,
dude,
yeah,
wow.
crazy. Like the data is nuts. And then we also scraped all the Carfaxes to get all of the information as far as like when was it in an accident? Here's the accident dates. Here's the stolen recovery dates. Here's this date, that date. Like it's all there. And so we've made it to where nothing nefarious is on the site. It's just the OEM stats. I don't have anyone's personal information, which is like another stigma. They think that I have like their address and stuff, which I do not. Only have the VIN number, and we only have all of the OEM like color, make, model, all that stuff, where it was manufactured, things of that nature. Then Carfax gave us where it was last registered, and then like what city, what state, and that's pretty much it. But as a user, you can upload like, okay, this car's cut up or it crashed, or this one's mine. You can upload pictures of your car, and you can keep the history of your car alive. So like owner number 1 can be like, this was when I bought it. Owner 2, this is when I crashed it. Owner 3, this is when I fixed it. So it's going to excel. There's just websites are not my forte, and it's just so expensive to get good like development people really. It's insane.
So can owners So owners can't necessarily claim their car to the public on your site?
Yeah, there's a comment area and stuff on every
Oh, okay.
profile, so they could just be like, "This is mine." Here's a link to my YouTube channel. Yeah, they could. So
Pretty wild.
yeah, it's literally a Facebook/Ancestry.com for your Supra.
That's pretty cool, man. And props to you for putting in the time.
Yeah. So what made you get into a GTR since you got all this love for the Supra?
So I love the Supras, and they're still, in my opinion, it's the ultimate like driver's car. The big thing was I moved up to Boston. I don't have as much garage space as I used to have, and I don't have a full-blown shop right now. So for me, a Supra, which is ironic, the GTR requires the shop at this point, but like the Supra is like, you have to be more of a mechanical person, I feel like, to own that car, because it's not a daily driver anymore, a Mark IV. It is a garage queen that you take out on the weekends and you enjoy it and you kind of baby it because there's a legacy behind it. And it's also your 401k for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to just drive your 401k all over the place. You're going to take care of it. So that's kind of how that car has turned itself into what it is. It is like almost like its own financial asset right now. I would take Supra stuff as currency. Like
yeah,
that.
seriously.
So yeah, you have a V160. Okay, cool. That's $8,000. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's money. So that's why people are different with those cars. Now, the GTR, the R35, particularly for me, I wanted an overall easy car that I could just get in and drive up in this Northeast area. And I wanted something with all-wheel drive, something that can go in all weather. And the Supra gets nicked off on those things. It's rear-wheel drive, not really the greatest in the rain. It's I'm not driving it all the time, but a GTR I can. And that was my plan on that. That's why I went that route.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I think I saw you make a post like you were somewhere where they were developing parts or something like that.
Yeah, I've gotten with a few different people on trying to make parts. We successfully made a lot of different things. That's another painful process. It's more painful than making the registry, honestly. It's like you're in everybody else's hands and there's nothing you can do. Arnout Vanderkamp with Supra Sport in the Netherlands is a close friend of mine, and he remade the V160 gears for everybody, but then they complained about price, even though they were billet gears with plasma welded engagement rings, and they were like, no one had another option, but the price is what was the problem. So he stopped doing that because of that. And then he made a lot of different parts on his end. My end, I went low key. I did like stickers and things. So I made the 15th anniversary edition, like fender emblems. Like those were hard to get and expensive. They're still expensive even for me to make them, but I got with a company that was able to do the gel coat over the ink and use the same like metallic silver, metallic gold as close as possible to OEM. And there's still some things, like there's one letter and I'm not even gonna tell you where it is, but it's like spaced a little too far apart. Like you can't get them like just perfect. The sticker people, they're the worst. So I tell them I revisioned it like 15 times and I got it as close as I could. And just to give you an example, every 50 stickers ends up costing me like $4,000 and I lose money on them. But I'm doing it to like provide a service to people so they can at least have an option.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool. That's passion, right?
Yeah.
It's just stupid, like the whole thing. And I get them made in Michigan at a plant that makes stickers and stuff for cars, but because I'm so low production, they don't want to work with me. And you have to get like, I'm doing this run as a sample, and then they'll make it. But then it's not the sample. It's like the only thing we can get. So
yeah, we'll just do a small sample run. All right, see ya.
Yeah,
for sure.
I got 50 of them. There we go. So we have 50 sets or whatever, and $4,000 later for stickers.
And
it's insane.
So okay, so where do you see the registry going in the future?
It's a good question. My goal for it was to be a place where you can go look up any Supra, see all the OEM stats, know if you're getting something that's a lie, kind of curb a lot of the fraud. Guys that have NA cars can't pass them off as twin turbo 6-speed just because they swapped it. They're kind of just weed out all of the BS that's in the car world because it's in every platform.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like we just destroy that. Like you can't lie about those cars really anymore. So that was like goal number one. But the biggest goal of mine was to be able to go on there and be like, okay, my car is one of 100 twin turbo 6-speeds, made in 95 in this color. And so my car is legitimately like one of 100 in this rarity like aspect if I were to filter it out. That was my goal, which I believe we've met at this point. It's just going to get better the more we verify and things like that. We verified almost 4,000 cars. So, which doesn't sound like a lot out of 45,000, but it's close to 10%.
Yeah, that's decent.
Yes, and that's worldwide. So then you think how many are left? And I have to say there's probably, less than 10,000 worldwide in existence at this point.
Holy moly,
So,
really? That's crazy low.
Can't be more than that. There's probably a good 5,000. I mean, think about it. If you have 50 states and every, if there's 1,000 or 100 in every state, that's 5,000 just for the U.S. But like, how many people know of 100 Supras in every state? You'd be lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you'd be lucky if you can get in the teens. Now, certain states, obviously, like Texas, Florida, California, will have a lot, but not thousands. Thousands is a big number when you start looking through a spreadsheet. It's a lot of cars.
Yeah, we only have 4 in Maine, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and even if you were wrong and it's 25, it's still only 25.
Yeah.
And even if you were wrong with that and there's 50, it's only 50.
That's true. There's way more Camrys than that.
Yeah, so the numbers aren't exactly what people think. Like Australia, we pulled the registration data, and there's only like 1,500 that were on the road as registered in Australia, and that was years ago. And they cut them up every day. So I don't think there's really. I truly believe there's literally less than 10,000 worldwide. So that car is just a 401k at this point. It's an awesome car, and it's got drastic factors to it. Like you have drag Supras, you have your collector Supras, you have your everyday guy that wants to enjoy a fast car Supras, and then you have all the ones that are still projects.
Right. Even drift Supras.
Yeah.
I mean,
Shout to Rad Dan.
Yeah. And I met him at Civ in Civ in 2017 or something like that. Nice guy. Again, like these guys are all. Everybody's got like their thing that they're doing with that car, but at the same time, like, if you were going to buy Rad Dan's Supra, not to throw him under the bus, but like, let's say he put it back to stock and goes to sell it. And let's say he wants to, not that he would, but let's say he goes to just sell it as an OEM car. How would you know it was his drift car?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how would you know? So on the registry, because we verified it and the pictures are there. So if you looked up his car, you would see, oh shit, this was, Rad Dan's drift Supra. It wasn't OEM.
Damn, that's
and there's
crazy.
some sketchy people that now that you're playing with big numbers. There's a guy recently with a twin turbo 6-speed Quicksilver car, and he wanted $300,000 for it, and it looked OEM, brand new. But the only thing that was off was like the front bumper's lip was repainted, and ended up figuring out that it was like a speed for sale car back in the like early 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s. And it was fully modified, and all those pictures surfaced, and we were able to be like, nope, that's not stock originally. Like, this was a full-blown race car that someone converted back very well to try to get top dollar.
Damn.
So there's that stuff is out there. VIN swapped cars that were I'm not even going to say who it was or anything like that, because I'm not in that business. I'm not, I don't care on that. I just try to prevent people from getting scammed. But there was guys in let's just say the Middle East that came to me and was like, hey, I have this car, and he said that my VINs don't match on the registry to his car. So come to find out, he had a fake title that was used for export use. And the VIN in the front was a US VIN, but the ending digits were a JDM car. And his frame stamp, his frame stamp on the firewall was off of a stolen car. So the chassis was actively stolen back in like 98. And then in 05, in 05, they made this BS VIN and got a Texas title, exported the car to the not to UAE, I can't say where it went, to the Middle East. And then it, ended up being this gentleman's car that he paid a ton of money for. And it's technically a stolen chassis with fake, VIN on it.
Damn.
So
dude,
what do you do though? Like at that point, what do? You spent 70, 80 grand on a car that's stolen, technically, still has the NCIB, still has like a search out for it.
That's insane.
Holy crap. That's like the worst. So your website really is just trying to help people make sure they're getting what they think they are. In the grand
scheme of things, it is the ability to search for any Supra and verify that what you're being told matches up to the OEM specs. And if it doesn't, does the seller's story match up to what they're saying to why it's not the same?
Damn.
Or you can come at me, am I wrong? And then we'll go at it together. But typically I'm not wrong, and usually there's some scummy things going on. Like we just found one the other day, the VIN, they took a grinder to it, but we took like acetone to the firewall, and we were able to pull the numbers through the grinder marks and get the chassis and figure out that like, okay, that chassis was actually not, this car, but your car was a reassigned VIN by the police based on this car. Like this, it gets so deep that it's like the holder of fraud information at this point is nuts. Man, I didn't know that crazy. Position, but yeah, my goal is to just make it to where we can have a site that everyone can go on and share pictures and keep that history of their car alive. And then they can pass it on to the next person that buys their car. And whoever's selling the car, let's say it's a blue car, but it was originally red, they're not lying to you, telling you it's a very special blue, Royal Sapphire Pearl that's worth all this money, when in reality it was like originally red or something. So that's the goal on that side of it.
Man, that's cool. Praise to you for thinking of others to try to, keep the community honest. That's pretty
There's
dope.
A lot of people involved on this, though. It wasn't all just me. Like I got one behind it, and I did a lot to build it. But all the people that are in the Supra community helped build it by like adding pictures and verifying their cars. And there's like some really cool guys like Jacob Pokros is verified. Like he's done like 20,000 image uploads and verified a few thousand cars on his own. So and there's guys in Australia that rocked and sent a bunch of VINs over, and there's guys that won't send VINs and you wonder why, so there's a lot to it though. I will say this, most of the people that are against it turn out to be the ones doing the shady things.
I believe
from my experience.
Yeah.
Why would they not? Why would they not want to be a part of it?
Why is it hurting you? You already have it. You already chopped up the car. Why won't you send me that VIN plaque? Because you put on another car to turn an NA into a twin turbo. So you can export it to the US and scan somebody.
As the values of these cars keep going up and up, are you starting to see like shady instances like that more and more often, or like crazier stories?
There's a Facebook post like literally now. The guy's saying it's a twin turbo car, but the VIN is JZA81, which an 81 is an NA car, 82 is twin turbo, so it's an NA car. I look it up on my site, and boom, it's an NA car that was swapped to twin turbo. But their ad says like true twin turbo car. It's like it's not. You swapped it.
Right.
I know you want 80 grand for it, but realistically, is it worth 80 grand? Maybe. It can be. You can have an NA car and it can be worth 80 if it was done right. If all the parts are beautiful and the job was great and the paint's meticulous and the car was well taken care of with all money parts, it's worth 80. But if it's a NA car that you swap the twin turbo motor in and threw a whatever trans in it, and you're trying to pass it off as something, no, that's a lie, and you're frauding somebody. So
I can see that.
Yeah, that's the big thing that I tried to curb. So I feel like we've established that at this point where you can go on, just check it, and you'll see. You can even look up your own car. You can add some pictures. You can comment on it. You can, help us by verifying other cars. I don't know. There's a lot I want to do. It just ends up costing money, like forums and this and that. It's just a money game at this point to add more cars, like profile, like not profiles, but like Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3, other cars. Like I have a Ferrari F50 registry I did. That's just chilling on my desktop. All of that is, it just takes a lot of money. Like the site alone over the last 10 to 11 years has been like over 50 grand just in
that's crazy to think about
admins and changing web designers and changing website people and getting scammed and, everything in between. There's, paying people to help me because I can't do it all by myself. There's just a lot of money on that. So it's a passion project for me, but it's definitely has the ability to be really, really cool if people understand how valuable it is to them. And that's what's hard to get out there.
Yeah, man. And hopefully we can help get that out there with this show. So before we go real quick, let people know, the website, Instagram, anywhere that they can find you, how they can help potentially.
Yeah, sure thing. Very simple. TheSupraRegistry.com is the website. They have Instagram, same thing, the Supra Registry. I'm not as active on Instagram anymore, just because I work and life, but definitely the superregistry.com for the website, and Facebook. I'm very active. I have a Facebook group again called the Supra Registry. And we also have a few other groups that we mingle in that are directed like more towards specific things. Like we're hosting a Myrtle Beach meet in October. And so there's a Supras in Myrtle Beach meet group. Cool. There's like 891 Refraction Mark V Supra group. So I tried to keep everybody kind of exclusive so they have that aspect of being in the group is more exclusive or a rarity than just being on, Facebook. So
that's cool.
So that's kind of where we're at. But yeah,
awesome,
there's Super and it'll grow. And it's my goal is just to make it be the best that it can be without killing my wallet. So that's where I'm at.
Oh yeah, man. I think that sounds like an awesome plan. And you're definitely a super valuable asset to the Supra community for being willing to put all this money and time into it. And, hopefully you can continue to save guys from making a mistake that, potentially breaks their hearts and their wallets,
Yeah, and I mean the coolest thing is like you can go on eBay right now, find any Supra, just go to the site, throw the last 7 digits of the VIN number, and so if it's like a JDM car like JZA80 dash whatever, that's their VIN. Just throw the last 7 digits in, it will pull up that car. You can click on its profile, and you'll at least see what we see, and you'll you know what I mean. It doesn't hurt to look. So.
No, that's cool, man. I wish all cars had that type of thing. Realistically, probably would have saved myself a little bit of a headache in the past.
And it's free. It's free.
Yeah,
there's literally no money involved. You can make a username and password just to have access to upload pictures and stuff like that. But other than that, it's totally free.
Hell yeah, man. We appreciate you being on tonight for sure, Anthony. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And good luck. And if there's ever anything we can do to help you out, just let us know, man.
I appreciate that. So maybe I'll roll up to Maine and we'll go get some lobster.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah. We're down for that 100%.
Absolutely.
We'll see you then.
All right. You guys take care.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Man, I wish all cars, for real, I wish all cars had like a registry, exactly how he's describing it, with their own profile. And it'd be even one step better if you could, verify and claim the car.
Yeah.
And then transfer the car through the website when you sell it, and that's like an exciting thing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, don't forget to transfer over the Supra Registry. You know what I mean? Like, it's just another thing.
It's part of the deal, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and you get the Supra Registry profile. Damn, Anthony, listen to this. But no, that was cool. It's cool to meet guys who really put their passion into it and didn't give up, a lot of people would have been like, dude, 45,000 cars, you're insane.
Yeah.
Dude just kept trucking.
I mean, in the making for over 10 years. I mean, and dude, it's insane. He just puts his all into it, you know, not much in return other than, you know, saying he did it, I guess you could say.
The satisfaction.
Yeah, and the satisfaction. And like you said, it's a passion project. Like if you love these cars, and
it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, you should be able to keep doing it and learning and getting excited.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we definitely appreciate having Anthony on. Super guys, go look up your car. You never know. If you haven't been on there, you probably should have already been on there if you haven't. If not, dang.
Or if you're scared.
Yeah. Yeah. But all right, so for episode 135, I'm Bobby. This is Aaron.
See ya.
Peace.